What is up? What is good, gamers? This is Shona of 71, aka Digadulamite,
The purple bling bling, y'all.
and your auditory canals are tuned into episode 281 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. And of course, I'm not in the digital studio alone. Along with me, got my partners in crime. First on deck is Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover,
That's me, as always. Dippity D.
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy. How's it going, man?
Good, as usual. Just got back from going to the outlets. Got some shopping done. Felt good. Yeah, I cannot be mad. Um, so I hope you all are having a fantastic weekend. And yeah, that's me.
Cool, cool, cool. And of course, our show is a no go without Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's me.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. What's up, man?
Not much. I just got back from the Fashion Fair Mall. Oh boy. So
Mm.
went to
We had
Love
GameStop.
limbs.
shopping.
Went to go to the hat store, and I bought some clearance baseball caps. I bought some clearance games. So I'm Mr. Clearance over here today. So $10 baseball caps. I gotta love it. So
Yeah,
Mm,
hell yeah.
mm.
yeah. Yeah, and got some, GameStop has a clearance sale for whatever reason because they purchase all these indie titles and they always have like one or two copies per store and it never sells, and so therefore they're clearancing stuff out now. So I'm over here like I'm looking at the leftovers in the chicken bucket, like trying to pick the meat off the bones over here. So
It sounds like him.
Just looking for those gems.
you got it. So
Mining for gold.
got it. Hopefully I don't find any dookie dookie. So.
Mm. I did a
I
little
picked up
mining
a
myself. I went to a yard sale. It's actually a block sale over there on it's off of Palm. It's one of the you know how there's a series of streets named after Ivy League schools.
yeah, like
So there's
Harvard
Harvard,
and
yeah. So Saturday it was the Harvard block. I think it's an annual thing. So me and the wifey went there, checked some things out, looking for some stuff to resell. We went to the one before. I think it was Yale.
Mm.
It was the
I used to
A Yale
partake in that
Street.
because I lived on Terrace at one point, so
Hmm.
I had
That
that.
one was really good. That one was really good. I got a. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not because I'm kind of tempted to keep it, but I'm kind of tempted to sell it. I got an Ecto transformer. Uh, and I got it for what I think is a pretty good deal. So I don't know if I'm going to sell it though. Uh, yeah,
A song and a dance.
yeah. It was a pretty good deal. So I can't. I don't know if I'll get rid of it. But this one yesterday was not quite as good. We There were a lot of people that had all the good stuff that people had out. They just wanted too much for it.
Oh,
And it's like, well, if you're going to charge that much, you might as well just post it on eBay or something and just sell it like that. It's like ain't nobody going to pay, you know, $60 for what was someone was asking for like a $60 for an Xbox One controller that
mm.
the Xbox insignia had been kind of popped out and replaced by some type of aftermarket button. I'm like,
Mm.
Yeah,
No.
no. Are you talk about Xbox like Series controller, or Xbox One, like Xbox
no, it
One?
was like I can't tell the difference between an Xbox One and an Xbox Series controller. I think it was a Series controller, and I think it was the Xbox because on the it was from I think it was an Xbox branded thing originally, but you could tell that they had replaced the button with some type of aftermarket replacement, and they still wanted $60 for it.
Nah, no, thank you.
So there was stuff like that going on, but the other one that was 2 weeks prior was much better because both Saran and I had got some really good stuff to go into our respective stores. But with that said, we're going to
Well, let
move
me go over
into
my
what is
haul
always.
real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because listeners might want to know what I'm be buying at GameStop like a fiend over here. So,
Okay.
I bought for the Switch. I got Demon Gaze Extra. I also got Neo Atlas 1469, and then I got
Sweet.
Takoyo, the Tower of Perpetuity for the Switch. So those are all $15 Make Hala. And then I bought for Desmond, I bought him Hammerwatch 2, the Chronicles edition for PS5. That was $15. So then I also picked up Trine 5. I picked up Small Land for PS5. I know Desmond played that previously, I think. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's
An
just
open
like
world. You're a bug.
I
Stop
thought
that.
it was like that Obsidian game, the one where Honey I Shrunk the little kids.
Uh, you're a bug, dude. You play
Yeah,
as a bug.
he
You're a little
plays a
bug.
bug. Oh, right on.
You are a
Like a
bug,
Bug's
and you get
Life.
yeah, but it's more like crazy. It's like stuff eats you and stuff. It's pretty brutal actually, but
Yeah,
it's a survival game.
Hmm.
I
Oh, is
got
it
Trine
one where you're a
5.
spider?
No,
Okay.
you are literally a bug person.
Oh, a bug person. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, let
I
you
me
know
are
there
just
you
read
was
are
from
a
one.
bug
the
person.
back of the box says the giants are gone and you, Vanguard, must venture above ground for the first time to reclaim the overland. So you tame and ride creatures, and it looks like you're riding a frog. You're
Yep, you
surviving the
can.
wild,
Yep, you are riding bugs.
and yeah, looks like
It's pretty crazy.
interacting with like birds. Oh my
Hmm.
god. So then yeah, I also picked up Trine 5, and then last but not least, I got a 2-pack of Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4 for $15. So that was a
Cool.
good get. But
Joe felt good
Okay.
about it. He was like, yes.
yes, I had to interrupt you and kill that beautiful segue to talk about my haul. So
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll move into what is always our first topic on our docket. We got a playlist coming your way. So I think we'll let's kick things off with Jabroni. Since you were sharing your haul, what have you actually been playing this week?
last couple of weeks it's just been usual stuff. Monster Hunter Wilds has been my main focus on there. Still working towards getting I have one more armor piece to get my what is deemed the best high rank lance armor set, and I'm gonna gem that thing up past hunter rank 100. I know. I think for 3 days, I think all I was doing was trying to pass one of the fishing missions on there because they made it to where you have to go to a particular place to fish at a particular time on the game clock, as far as you have to do it in the morning. It has to be in the instance of plenty to be able to do that. So it's
Hmm.
like I finally caught the fish. I literally took like 3 days of just like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes each day trying to catch this freaking fish. I have one more fish mission to get done. It's for the Whopper. I have to go catch a Whopper. Not the Burger King Whopper, not the King or anything, but I have to
Too
catch a
bad.
You're gonna
gigantor
catch it your
fish.
way.
So you got it. Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset us. That's right. So, but
That's
still
so
enjoying Monster Hunter Wilds. I can't wait for the next like content drop. I'm hoping you guys maybe hop back in if you get the itch. that Monster Hunter itch, get that Neosporin out, treat it quite nicely. So, also played some more Borderlands 3. I am at the point to where I'm thinking if I'm gonna still play this freaking game, I'm gonna like start one of the expansions and see how that goes. Also, I had a game night with Dez last night, and also you, Kevin, and I wound up we're looking for different multiplayer games to play. So I fired up and had to go through the beginning levels of Remnant 2. So Remnant 2, basically the four-player multiplayer like rogue like, or like a little bit Dark Soulsy action shooter on there. I think
Yeah, it's not a
Des,
roguelite. That's an action shooter.
yeah, action shooter, yeah, if need be. So I enjoyed what I played for a little bit of taste I got last night. So I definitely need something to get out of my usual mix on there. I also last night for whatever reason I was looking at my EDF titles and I was thinking, maybe on the PS5 Pro, EDF Iron Rain would run a little bit better. So I fired up EDF Iron Rain, and of course, man, oh man, oh man, it's like yeah, at least my Ranger character at the beginning of the game, it's still clunky as hell. Gameplay is clunky. They wanted me to destroy this big mothership, and I couldn't figure out where to shoot. So, I kept doing that over and over for 10, 15 minutes, and decided to turn off EDF Iron Rain. I don't know if I'll ever go back to that game. That game was like,
It's doo doo.
triple A trash. So,
Wow, really? That bad, huh?
it didn't get really good ratings. I know when we were in Japan last, I saw it on the shelf at like a physical edition of Iron Rain, so I picked it up for the price of like $3 after the yen conversion. So I mean, it didn't do well. I don't think they're going to be doing an Iron Rain 2, but I might go just to take another peek think if I could figure it out. Then from there, I mean, it's EDF. It shouldn't be rocket science. So also on my list, I have made a return to a game that was on my list from last episode, and that is going to be Destiny 2.
Say it isn't so, Joe.
Yes, I kind of got interested because they announced the latest expansion for Destiny 2 called Prophecy and Fate. And so it's like I looked at that. I knew the fact that they put the Final Shape DLC on sale on the store on there. So I've basically downloaded the gigantic PS5 file for Destiny 2, and I went through and I played like the first mission for the Final Shape. Kind of got a feel for what's going on in the plot because with the last expansion, which was I think a Lightfall on there, there was obviously the Guardians wound up harnessing dark powers and the enemies wound up harnessing light powers. So there's a lot of back and forth on that. And the beginning story trailer for the Final Shape basically has you going into the Guardian itself. So, oh boy, on that. So,
You enjoying it?
I played the first mission. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go through and buy the DLC. I mean, I think in the PSN store it's like about 20 or $25, and that just depends whether I'm gonna actually get some play out of it or not. And what I was debating about doing is just because there was on 1 month on PlayStation Plus Essential, they offered Destiny 2 Lightfall on that, and so I do have that entire campaign to play. So I figured, hey, I already have that in my back. I already have access to that entire campaign. Might as well just see if give that a shot and kind of go from there. It was just kind of odd. Everything's up to I think about 1100 light level, and just seeing everything in my like vault and looking at all the time I grind stuff that now that I look at
Garbage.
it and say, man, oh man, oh man. It's like I spent a lot of time to earn all the sets, like the Iron Banner set and all this and all that. So
That's garbage.
it's not really garbage. It's all leveled the same. I have no idea what set does what
What the
perks
meta
do
is.
what. Yeah, I have no idea about any of it. All I know is that Monte Carlo still shooting like a knife going through hot butter on there. So at least I could tell like that. And looking at my usual guns and whatnot, that I might just decide to not like get into the meta and just blow through a campaign and see how it goes. So, and then if I start getting into it, then maybe it's a point that I'll see about picking up Final Shape and maybe, God forbid, even buying, or checking out Prophecy and Fate once it comes out on July 15th. So, but, part of me is saying, yeah, it feels good to go back. Part of me is saying, look at your backlog and all these other games you haven't experienced, you sucker ass sucker. So it's like,
That's
what do I
funny.
want to put on my old, like, putting on the old vinyl of some album you enjoyed in years past, or whether you want to like try to find something new. So
Your backlog is like, no, Joe, what are you doing? Stop.
yeah,
Stop, please, Joe.
yeah. My backlog needs some Dukalax or some X-Lax in this
You said
business.
Dukelax. Need some Joelax.
Dukalax, you got it. So I could probably retire, not buy a game for 5 years, and still have something new to play. So
Probably.
you know
That's
it.
not a bad thing, though.
Yeah. Better than that, not having anything to play. But I also before I kick it over, I did play a little bit of Dismantle last
Hmm.
night because I know Des wanted to try to play some multiplayer, and I just played through the beginning tutorial. But I could see where the hook is with that game. It's like an overhead like survival game with zombies on there, and it's a little bit more in the I don't know if you want to say it's like a management game where you're going in and picking up resources and leveling up things, and you could probably give a little bit better description of the combat and whatnot since I'm only in the beginning tutorial still. But what's your opinion on Dismantle, and what else have you been playing, Des?
Sure. So Dismantle is a survival game. There's a little bit of you can build. I think you can build crops and settlements and stuff like that. There is no base building in it. I played this a couple years ago, and it was kind of fun. 3/4 top down ARPG where you can kind of like the skill list. There's perks you can get, how you build your character and whatnot. And it's really kind of fun. It's just this, you play this lone guy who, runs around trying to survive and trying to get off this island. They have released 3 different expansions. One, is like a Doom Prepper one. The other one is they added animals. And then the other one they added something else. And I can't remember what it is, but again, it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it so far, and I'm looking forward to play it a little bit more than I did the first time. Yes, I tried to play it with Joe, but unfortunately, it is couch co-op only. So I was hoping that I could play it with him in the like us sitting together and stuff online, but unfortunately you can't. So that
Uh,
was
we
kind of
might
sad.
we might be able to, and I didn't think about this last night, but we could possibly do the PlayStation Share Play and then do couch co-op that way. So we might want to give that a
Maybe,
shot and talk about it next episode, see if it worked or not. So
maybe we might want to do that. So,
got it.
um, what else? So yeah, fun game. I've really been enjoying it. I think you should check it out if you can. The last thing I've been playing, of course, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. That game is amazing. So just so much fun. So still playing it, still loving it, still getting down with it. So if you have not played it, I really think that you should because it is just so good. So but yeah, that's really all the things that I've been playing. Relatively straightforward. Nothing super the greatest. But yeah. Joe, sorry, Kev, what have you been playing, buddy?
So I've just been playing a lot of the usual, not a lot, very little actually of the
Mm.
usual stuff. Some Helldivers 2. Been playing some AC Shadows, just trying to make my way through that. I'm still enjoying Shadows, but it's starting to wear a little bit long in the tooth.
Oh,
And the
really?
reason it
Mm.
is that the pacing is such where you have to do a lot of side stuff to build your character levels up. I can't even for as long as I've played the game, I can't make a decision to mainline the main story points because a lot of those guys are still anywhere from 8 to 12 points ahead of me in skill level or in a play in character level. So while I could go and try to complete them, I'd probably be getting washed, just like one little tap, a love tap is going to kill my character because they're so those level caps are still above or well above mine. So I think there's a pacing issue with the game. I don't even want to guess at how many hours I've put into it. I've completed one series of villains, completed that one arc, which consists of about 7 or 8 characters that I had to take out, either take out or uh, if they pled their case appropriately, I spared them. I think there were 2 that I spared. Everybody else I killed. So now what I'm doing is just trying to complete some side quests just so I can build Naoe and Yusuke up high enough so that I can actually go and complete the main story. And once I cross that threshold, I think I'm just going to make a beeline to complete the main arc so I can wrap this game up. It's fun, but like a lot of the more modern AC games, it is bloated. I didn't really feel that earlier on in the game because I thought a lot of the components that comprise of the gameplay are well done and they are still well done. But I think this game suffers mostly from pacing,
Mm.
and that pacing is in the form of, well, now you got to do all this side stuff and you got to visit all these temples so you can raise your intelligence level so you can access the more advanced combat features of both characters. So you're kind of doing a lot of busy work. So that's kind of like my biggest hurdle in that game right now. There was a recent update in Helldivers 2, so there was some additional buffs to a lot of the weapons that I have in my arsenal. I really didn't spend too much time in that because I was more really just working on my side business for the most part these past couple of weeks. But the one thing that I was able to do was while working on my business, I had my tablet up next to my computer. So I decided I would watch the Devil May Cry Netflix series. And for
Okay.
the past 2 weeks I mainlined it. And I hadn't even heard of it, but in my YouTube feed it came up because all these people were bitching and moaning about, oh my gosh, they ruined Devil May Cry. Netflix ruins another anime. Who's whoever does this shit needs to be fired. All this. The outrage just kept hitting my YouTube feed. So I was like, okay, what's really going on with this? And I basically watched the entire thing. I'll say that everything that they were bitching and moaning about is factually incorrect. It's like
Of course.
nobody is watching the show. Like I know one person said, "Well, they have Jesus as a character in the game, and he is like this." There is no Jesus in the game. There is no mention of Jesus in the game. There are what you would call lunatics who profess to be of a kind of like a pseudo Christian theology, but I wouldn't even say it's even based in that. It's just there's just a whole bunch of crazy people in the show. So that was something that was factually incorrect. The I guess you could make the biggest thing about about the show, and the biggest complaint that people had, was that the director, and I had his name mentally reserved mentally so that I could bring it up on the show, but I can't remember it now. He made the change that demons are just another ethnicity of human being. Well, not even human being, really. Well, maybe human being. I really, well, yeah, I guess you could say like they're like a different ethnicity per se.
Interesting.
Their only difference is that what we have tentatively from an abstractual standpoint referred to as hell is just a very, very, very bad dimension where everything that lives there is predatory. The actual demons, meaning the people, for lack of a better term, that can think and communicate, that have language and a culture, they are just as oppressed as like a human would be, because every time they step out to just do regular stuff like get food and get water, number one, the air is slowly poisoning them, it's killing them. So
Jeez.
they have to they have to make decisions as to whether or not we're going to raise our children, because some children are resistant to the toxicity in the air and others are not. The ones that are not are just they're basically just you just got to let them die because the resources are just so thin. Um, and then, of course, as well as the literal environment, there are just like redunculous literal monsters that run around that eat them all the time. So the quote unquote demons, they really aren't demon. Now, some of them don't. A lot of them don't look like people. Like some of them have, like the forms that we've come to know. Some of them have been borrowed from some of the Devil May Cry games. So it's not that they all look like people, but most of them do. The ones that have a language and have a culture do. The ones that don't are just typically just monsters looking to eat somebody. Uh, and
Hmm.
basically, Dante is they kind of take the Devil May Cry. I guess it would be because I can't remember the exact order of the Devil May Cry games because they're not in numerical order. Uh, Basically, it's young Dante. So he is like this freelance demon hunter, and it's kind of weird because it's like people know that demons exist, but then some people don't, because there's like this social media aspect that there's like these Glenn Beck type folks that are claiming, oh, the government is in league with these demons and they're going to take over the world, and then there's other people that say like, this all sounds like conspiracy, but yet and still some people wound up getting attacked by these monsters kind of pouring out from or slipping through these portals that kind of open up from hell. And it's literally a critique on they do draw a critique on immigration, that is very clear. They do draw a critique on nationalism, that is very clear. They do draw a critique even on the use of force in kind of like a state that is kind of tilting toward fascism, but not quite there yet. They just need to take a couple more steps, and they're going to be firmly there.
Hmm.
Those elements are at play, but in my opinion, they are utilized in a way that only makes sense if they make the fundamental changes to who the demons are, and instead of just having them just be these monsters that are just hell bent on eating people like they are in the game, for the most part, they've made them, um, for lack of a better word, relatable. And so you can see the struggles that they're going through and their desire just to have a better life. Like there's a point in the show where Lady is, and for those who don't know, Lady, well, I think she was introduced in Devil May Cry 3. It's like her dad was like this dude who was trying to open a portal to hell to take over the world, and she basically spent all of her time as a child learning and training herself so that she could be strong enough to take her dad out. And she crosses path with Dante during the game, and basically the thing that people were saying was, "Oh my gosh, Lady is this girl boss, trash, unlikable character. She's like nothing like in the game." And I'm like, well, it's been so long since I played Devil May Cry 3. So I'm like, let me go to YouTube and look up these cutscenes with Lady. And oh my gosh, lo and behold, she is a girl boss from the original game. So they were true to her character.
She
She
was
was
angry, huh?
unlikable in the game. She was unlikable in the original game. She was a cool character still, but she had a very poor personality. She didn't trust Dante, was often trying to kill him. I think maybe you fight her either once or twice in the game. I might be wrong on that, but because it's been so long since I played DMC3. But it's like she's there. They were true to her character. It's like I. The only difference is that instead of just being kind of like this lone wolf person, she's working for the government. And in this world, the president is like this dumbass redneck, for lack of a better terminology, and he don't know which way is up. The vice president is actually running the show, and he is kind of like the quote unquote religious zealot, who is hell bent on closing up the portals and refusing to let the demon folk into our realm, and kind of keep that closed. And of course, Dante is the key to all this because he has one half of the amulet that his father forged that basically split the realms, that they keep the realms separated.
Gotta
So
keep them separated.
yeah, yeah. Well, and from that they take from they're true from with regards to Sparta's actions, because Sparta saw that the dude that he was working for didn't really care for his own people. He didn't care for the humans either, which he probably wouldn't have. He probably would have kind of maybe gone with the program if that was the case, but he didn't even care about his own people. He was sacrificing his own people to his own ends, and that's the reason why Sparta did what he did in the series. So, and he just wound up falling in love with Dante's human mother, and had Virgil and Dante. But I think it was a very good series, and I think it's one that if you are, um, even remotely, a fan of the Devil May Cry series, I think it's worth watching. Fight scenes are well animated. Pretty much, it's pretty well animated throughout. It does do what Netflix animes kind of tend to do. There are some scenes in some episodes where they rely too heavily on the CG, and you can tell that I don't know if it was budget or what. There are some parts that are CGI animated, and it just kind of brings the quality of the show down. But when they
Mm.
get back to the regular, those well, and the fight scenes are well choreographed. I think Dante is Dante. He's kind of like irreverent and kind of cocky, and they don't really change anything about him, really. Uh, it's a good show. It's a really good show, and I think they've already greenlit season 2, and I'm anxious to see how it turns out. So uh, I have to be I'm kind of thankful for the Chuds because every time their complaints get into my feed, for the most part, I wound up watching something that's really good. So
That's good.
I guess you can say that if the Chudosphere is angry about something, chances are it might actually be worth your time. So if you've got Netflix, I would suggest checking out Devil May Cry. It's pretty dope. So
Cool.
that's going to do it for what I've been up to these past couple of weeks. So we're going to kick things over to Dez and our main event. Sorry, man, you got the mic, bro.
Alrighty. So for our main event, we were tasked by John BT to say, well, he asked us a question basically, and the question that he asked us was, going back through the various consoles you've owned, what is your single favorite game from each? So this was a very interesting question because it took a lot of mental gymnastics in order to sit back and really think about all of the systems that I had and really like decide, what am I really thinking? Like, what is ugh. So before that, I'm going to kick it off to Joe because I think Joe has got this ginormous list that he's going to want to talk about. And I know we're probably going to be here for a couple hours, so just kick back, grab your popcorn, and let's listen to Jabroni Chief talk about the games that he owned and that his was single favorite. Okay, Joe, it's one. Okay, we asked for one, Joe. One singular sensation.
Why don't
Okay?
you kick it over to Kev first, sir?
No, I want you to do it. I want you first.
I'm still working, man.
You
I'm
still
working on
working on
this.
it? Oh,
I'm
see,
still
that's
working.
what I told you, folks. He's still working on it. Okay. All right. Actually, let me start. I'll start.
Thank you.
I'll start off. Okay. So the first game system that I ever owned was the um, Sega. It was the Sega Genesis, and the game that I really loved playing on that game was Golden Axe. I thought that game was fantastic. I thought it was just one of those classic beat 'em ups that I just absolutely adored. Well, it was a toss up between that and Altered Beast, but Golden Axe just fantastic. I played that game so many times at my friend Patrick's house, and it would be a Friday night after school and or Saturday night, and we would order two deep dish, um, deep dish Pizza Hut pizzas, pepperoni pizzas, and we would sit there and we would play Golden Axe and watch horror movies. It was horror. It was just fantastic. So I have fantastic memories about that right there. For the NES, I would have to say that would be what is it? Pro Wrestling. I really enjoyed that game. A lot of people are gonna be freaking out, but Pro Wrestling out of the NES. Of course, there's other games that you could have liked and blah blah blah. I'm gonna tell you this. The reason why it was Pro Wrestling was because that was the first game that I really like. That was my first like two-player game where it was like a competition because I wasn't into fighting games. I don't even think they were around back then. There might have been, but I don't remember. But that was like my first game where I could dominate somebody, and I felt really good about that. I was like, yeah, this is so cool, I'm awesome. So, and I loved that game. I was really big into WWE at that time. So yeah, Starman, what is it, the Creature, and all them. Loved that, loved it, just loved it. For the SNES, Super NES, I would have to say it was Super Metroid, and I loved Super Metroid because that was the first game that I actually beat. I actually beat that game, and I just absolutely loved it. I fell in love with it. I thought it was fantastic. I actually got uh the what was it, the cheat guide or whatever. I actually had a cheat guide that I got off of I was in junior high, and I was in a computer class, and I remember we would go on like the BBSs or whatever, and someone was able to get a cheat guide for that, and I absolutely loved that. It was that and printing out on a dot matrix printer. I printed out the lyrics to LL Cool J's "I Need Love" because I wanted to know what he was saying. So I printed that out, and I printed out how to beat Metroid, Super Metroid. So yeah, that. Why are you laughing? It's great. That's what I did. Like I did it. It was amazing.
You
Yeah.
you couldn't. He LL kind of enunciated very well
He
in that.
really did. He really did. But I wanted those lyrics, and I downloaded them and I had them, and I used to sing along with him. I don't know why. Like I was really into LL Cool J back in the day, really into him. So yeah, that was my thing.
Mm.
Romance, sheer delight. I don't want us to get sued.
How
So I
sweet.
still
I
know
need
it.
to find me a girl to make my life
Like,
complete. Yeah.
so I to this day I still remember that whole song, and when it comes on like the oldies channel on
Mm,
XM radio, I on
mm,
LL Cool J Rock the Bells, I sing along with it.
mm.
So it's just something. It's like a time capsule. So yeah. So I never had N64, so I can't really say anything about that.
You didn't
I
miss. You didn't miss
Yeah,
much.
I don't think I did.
Nope.
So what else was that? I also had a N64. I had a Sega. No, Joe had the Saturn. I didn't have a Saturn. I had a. Well, sorry, was it the Saturn and then the Dreamcast? Yeah,
Correct.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a Dreamcast, and so on the Dreamcast, I had a bunch of games. So I remember Cannon Spike was a really really good favorite one of mine. But if I want to be serious, it was Sonic R Racing. Everybody Supersonic Racing. I still listen to that soundtrack, by the way. It's one of my. It's a bop. You should all listen to it. It's really fantastic. You can listen
It's on
to it on.
Spotify. Yeah, it's really good.
It's
So
really good. So that would be my favorite because I never really got too much into the Saturn. I don't know why. I just didn't. I mean, I played the games and I had the games, but I never really got into it too much. I played that racing game a lot with Joe, and we played it, and it was just really really fun to play that. And yeah, the PlayStation 2, sorry, the PlayStation 1. I don't know if I had any favorite game from the PlayStation 1. I don't think so. Like I played games, but for that I played so many games because that's when Joe was doing all of his pirating. So we had a chipped version or whatever, and I played a lot of games on that. So I don't really think I have one that really stood out that was like my favorite game. I don't think so.
keep in
Uh,
mind, I wasn't pirating everything. So just
he's
to throw
lying.
that out there.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
he's
yeah, my
lying.
$30,000 in credit card bills is not lying. Thank you,
That's in
sir.
addition to, okay? So you was a
Yeah.
fiend. You was a fiend back in the day, sir. You was a fiend. You were like Pookie at EB talking about what's a new game coming out? What's a new game coming out? So you'll get your chance, sir. PlayStation 2. What was the PlayStation 2 that I really liked? I don't know. I wasn't really some of those games. See, those games back in the day, I played so many of them that there was never anything that really stood out as like my favorite game that I like really just was like, oh, this is so cool because I really wasn't playing games a lot that around that time. It wasn't until because I was like in the streets,
And you,
living my life.
Desmond.
What? What I do? Making you laugh because we capping on Joe. Yeah, this is what I do. So anyway, um. I'm trying to think of anything else of any system that I really was that I because like I had all these systems and I played them, but there was no actual game that I just was like, this is my favorite. I have to really think about it like that. I didn't start getting into better games like that until I got into like the Xbox. So the original Xbox, I'd have to say Jade Empire was my favorite. Like that was my favorite, and I really wish that they would bring that back and do more. Like I played the crap out of that. People will say, well, what about Couture? No, it was always and will always be Jade Empire, and I really wish that they'd bring it back, or do something
Storm
with that
Dragon
franchise.
for the win.
Yeah. Just a great, uh, just a great. Like it's weird. I would buy an Xbox, to play a new version. Not even new. Like if they were to go back to that, I would buy it just to play that game because I think it would be. Well, I don't know. It's a different time nowadays, so I don't know how good it would be, but
You
yeah, I
just bring it to
really,
PS5.
yeah,
No
that's what I'm
need.
saying. No need, seriously. 360 games that I thought were really, really good. Was 360 the one where we played Dead or Alive a lot, Joe? You and I? That was a 360, right?
It might even be now. It was original
Original
Xbox.
Xbox. I know that was the fighting game that we played a lot of. So that'd
Because
be another one.
two was on Dreamcast, three was on the original Xbox,
Yeah, yeah.
four was on I think 360. So
Yeah, I think it was. Then I'd have to say a Dead or Alive game on 360. That was really really good. I had a Wii, but I never really played anything on the Wii. I had the Heavenly Sword, um, but I never really got into that. And Paul played Twilight Princess, but he got to a point where he couldn't beat it, and he just got annoyed with it, so that was gone. And PS3. PS3 was when I really started getting back into gaming. When I started to settle down, I wasn't on the streets all the time. So for the PlayStation 3, that's when for me the heyday of the uh the mascots were kind of coming out. Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, and all them. So for me, I really enjoyed, and I thought that he needed to have more love was Sly Cooper. I really enjoyed Sly Cooper. I remember playing a lot of platformers on the PS3 and really really enjoying it. Again, I didn't really get into RPGs until later. Like I was playing them because I played KOTOR and I played uh Jade Empire, but I never really, and I played some of the Final Fantasy games, but I never really was into them because they were just really, really long, and I just had so much other stuff to do. So there wasn't too many. That's why like RPGs really aren't on my list for most reasons, or my favorite games because I didn't really play them. PlayStation 4. I don't know. PlayStation 4 was kind of weird. Again, I played a lot of games, but isn't really one game or one like game that I thought was just like, oh my god, I have to live without it. I guess it'd have to be like Spider-Man. If I had to pick one, I think it would be Spider-Man because that was the I think that was the game that really really made me feel like I'm literally playing a Spider-Man comic book. I thought every beat in that game was fantastic. Every decision they made, everything that happened in that game, even the resolution at the end, like left me feeling something. So I'd have to say the original Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, fantastic game. That would be my pick for PlayStation 4. PlayStation 5, I don't know. It's too early. Like I have a bunch of games. I'm looking at them right now. And out of all of them, I don't know which one would I consider like the one that just is like making me like, oh my god, I had to play it. Maybe Outriders, because we played so much of that game, and that game gave me so many hours of just constant fun. I know I could say like Destiny, excuse me, excuse me. I know I could say Destiny. And I guess if I had to pick, a multiplayer game, it would be Destiny, and then a single. Well, no, because my multiplayer game would have been Outriders. So I'm gonna stick with Outriders because that's the one that I really felt like we had a lot of fun with. I mean, Destiny, of course, was fun, and we had a lot of fun with it. But just Outriders was just so crazy, and even the cringe was fun. Like you would play that game and you'd be like, "Oh my god, this is so cringy," but we had so much fun with it, and it didn't take itself seriously like Destiny did. And I just thought, like, yeah, that would be my kind of list. And I don't have any for any of the other Xboxes. So, and I have a Switch, and then I would think that the Switch game that I would consider being my favorite one that I've played Would probably be. I think I have one, not for Switch. So I usually play my Switches and I play roguelites on that because for my Switch, it's much more get up and go. So I play a lot of it when I am on the road or when I'm traveling, I'll play it. And even then I don't want to play I don't want to sit down and play a ton of stuff with it. Because I'm usually traveling or something. So it's really good for those kind of like roguelites, and those bullet heaven type of games. So and I'm hoping to change that when the new system comes out because it'll be more of a I'll treat it more of a console because I never treated my Switch like a console. I treated it like a handheld, and I would only utilize it when I was gone. I don't utilize it that often in console mode. And then I can't talk really about Switch or sorry, the Steam Deck. I don't really play my Steam Deck that much. So I can't really I don't really think about Steam. So I couldn't say that for Steam. But we did get a response to this question on our Blue Sky channel. So yes, we are on Blue Sky. Please come to Blue Sky, look for gaming vessels, and join the conversation. We'd love to hear. We'd love to have you. So, Bye Bye Mars on Blue Sky says, no obscure or hidden gems on my list. For the NES, Double Dragon 2. Okay, solid, solid. Uh, Super NES was Zelda. Link to the Past.
There you go.
I got it. Thank you, Joe.
All right.
Thank you for your help. Thank you. Genesis, Streets of Rage 2. All right, someone likes his beat 'em ups. Kevin, is this you? I'm just kidding.
No.
N64 was Mario Kart OG. Yes, I can understand that. I hear that was a great game. Game Boy, Link's Awakening and Tetris. Okay, tied for 2. That's great. Game Boy, I can definitely think of Tetris as being. I played Tetris a lot. From what is it? From Street Lamp to Street Lamp before they had the backlit. So yeah, playing Tetris as a kid in the car at night. Ugh, just pain. The Wii, Zelda Twilight Princess, good game. And for PS3, Ratchet and Clank. Yes, I'd have to agree with you. Definitely for Ratchet and Clank. I played the crap out of Ratchet and Clank. I beat all of them. Seriously, I beat all of them because out of all of the platformers, that was one of my favorites. Was Ratchet and Clank and that whole Ratchet and Clank series. But Sly Cooper, I thought the mechanics were just a little bit better. Not that the guns and all the stuff wasn't good. I just liked Sly Cooper as a character and what he was doing. So, that's a lot. And thank you so much, Bye Bye Mars, for contributing. We would love to have more of you contribute as well on Blue Sky or on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you see us. Please comment and we'll talk about it. So I'm going to kick it over to Kev because I know Joe's probably still working on his list. He probably has like a spreadsheet that he's building about it. So
No, I'm done. I'm done. But
no. Okay. We'll kick it over to you now, and then we'll end with Kev because after me is always the Jabroni Gaming News. So having you do a double would be kind of rough. So we'll kick it over to you now. That way we can have a break when Kev's given his talk back. So all right, Joe. Wow us, buddy. What do you got for us?
Well, one game, and it's really hard to look at one favorite game, but
oh my god, I know it's terrible.
You got to do what you got to do. So I started gaming with the Atari 2600. So I'm gonna start from there and kind of work my way through the list. So for the Atari 2600, I had to narrow everything down, and I have selected River Raid from Activision as my
River Raid.
River Raid, yes.
I don't even remember that.
Kev, you know River Raid, right? Quite well.
Oh yeah, I know River Raid. I never had it, but yeah, I played it at my friend Jason's house. It's basically like a top-down shmup.
Yeah,
really?
It's a really good top-down shmup too.
Yeah.
So
never heard of it.
check out some video. It's good stuff. Atari 5200 Countermeasure is going to be my. It's like hidden gem. It's like this tank game on the 5200 that I bought it on a whim because it was during the crash. I think I got it for $5 at Woolworths of all places. So that's when the crash happened in 1983, and they were like blowing games out left and right, and that game just had nice little complexity to it, and I still remember it to this day. And there's a ton of other games on 5200 I really liked, like Joust and God, what else? Congo Bongo, a lot of like arcade ports. So for the ColecoVision, I'm gonna have to select Zaxxon. That game banged in the arcade. That game banged on the ColecoVision as well. So on there made me want to get a ColecoVision, even though I had a 2600 and I just had to have it. So
Gotta have it.
you know it. Atari 800 computer. I spent my entire eighth grade, summer vacation working at a elementary school on Dakota, earning money to buy Atari 800 XL computer from Boots Camera on there.
Wow.
So yeah, I got a floppy drive, I got a dot matrix printer, but hey, guess what? I just play games on it for the most part. So
What you gotta do? What else you gonna do? Come on.
yeah, what else are you gonna do? I'm gonna do some basic computer programming. No. Am I gonna do some word processing? No. I played Miner 2049er. Is my game of choice on there. So if you don't know this game is just good times. It kind of gave me shades of Load Runner a little bit. I love Load Runner, but I think Miner 2049er is stone cold classic. So NES, I had to think of as far as there's tons of games for the NES. So
Yeah, I couldn't think too much about it because there was so many, like so many.
yeah, I want to stick out for one RPG that kind of stuck out to me. I actually beat the campaign. Wasn't my first turn-based RPG, but this game called Destiny of an Emperor. It was from Capcom, and basically it was the Cao Cao and all the usual Chinese, Romance of the Three Kingdoms characters in a turn-based RPG, and I was just addicted to that game. I beat that game like literally within I think 3 weeks, and I really enjoyed it. So I mean, but when you think of the NES, I mean, there's a ton of other games I could probably put on this list, but I'm gonna put that as my numero uno on there.
Understood.
Sega Master System. Um, I'm gonna basically say Fantasy Star because Fantasy Star was the first RPG I've ever played on there. So, and it was something to where I mean, that game. It was at Toys R Us, and I had to wait until Christmas to buy it because it was super expensive. I believe, remembering the price at the time, it was either $79.99 or $89.99 for a game cartridge. So it was on a 4 megabit cartridge. So, and
Wow.
it if you never played the original Fantasy Star, it's the dungeons were 3D, so you're a first person,
Yeah, I played
and
it. I
it
hated it.
it took me like about 5 months to beat the game, and I wound up calling the Sega hotline, the 1-800 USA Sega,
Mhm.
and I had someone send me maps on there. I had bought graph paper and was graphing out my own maps just to kind of figure out where I was, especially later on in the game. So.
Hated it.
And loved it. I beat that game. I was so happy. I took I think I got took a Polaroid of the game ending screen. So, also honorable mention to this badass anime game called Zillion on the Sega Master System, but that was pretty badass in my opinion. It was like a impossible mission type game where you had to go and use different colored key cards, and we're doing a lot of shooting back and forth. It had some elements of Rolling Thunder a little bit. So for the Commodore Amiga, because I love my computers. So my favorite game, probably on that system, and probably one of my most played games of all time, is Earl Weaver Baseball. God forbid an EA baseball sim on that Commodore Amiga computer. I simmed like a couple of actual baseball seasons on that damn thing. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I actually created my own like rosters. Was doing, that's why I don't play MLB The Show because I could probably save a lot of money and just sim baseball all day, but that's not my thing. So SNES, of all the games, I could probably say there's a ton of games on that system. I'm gonna say Final Fantasy 2, aka Final Fantasy 6, because I remember when that game first came out, it was 89.99. I bought it at the G&G game booth in Fashion Fair. If you remember that little
Mhm.
kiosk, it was like basically near Woolworths on there. So, and I remember buying it from there, and I beat that whole entire campaign, and it was just some good. Sega Genesis, a little bit of an RPG kick. I'm gonna say Shining in the Darkness. So, Shining in the Darkness was a first-person dungeon crawler from the Shining developers from Camelot on there, and I love that game. That game is just so good, Chef Kiss. I was almost going to put Shining Force 2 on there because that game is also
That game
great
was
as
great too.
well. Yeah. TurboGrafx 16, because God forbid, by the time that system came out, I had enough money. I was actually working for the man already at that time. So Bonk's Adventure is probably a standout for me on the TG16.
Fun game.
And on the TurboGrafx 16 CD, Gates of Thunder, it was like the best shmup ever on there. Had like metal soundtrack on there, so it was just bopping, and that game was just chef kiss. Sega CD, Snatcher. So Hideo Kojima's like masterpiece on the Sega CD. I beat that whole entire campaign. It's kind of inspired by Lode Runner a lot, and if you had never had a chance to play it when you get a chance. Original PlayStation. There's literal S ton of games on that system. So, and out of the I kind of picked Wipeout XL out of it. So I
Great
think
game.
that game really banged and had really good racing, and you know I think especially with the graphic interface of the game, the fonts and whatnot from Designer Republic, that game is just like chef kiss. That's like, wouldn't mind going back and playing it right now. Sega Saturn, that was my system. I think Desmond could attest to it. Kev could attest to it. It was just like nuts. So it's really hard to pick one game. Panzer Dragoon Zai, or Zwei, whatever you want to call it, Panzer Dragoon 2, probably at the time was just the bomb. I mean, I don't know if you remember playing that game, Kev, but Panzer
Vaguely.
Dragoon 2. Yeah, it was a great shooter. There's so many other games like Sega Rally, Fighters Mega Mix, all the
Mm.
Capcom and SNK games. I
Fighters and
mean,
Mega Mix. Wow.
yeah. N64. If you're a long listener of this podcast, I bring the Palpatine hate for the N64. It was just a big gigantic piece of shit, but it was
Wow.
great for Mario 64 and all the first party Nintendo titles on there, like Ocarina of Time was the bomb too. So there was a few games on there, but Mario 64 is my standout for that because there was nothing like that game. I mean, Nintendo really knocked it out of the park. So Sega Dreamcast, I'm gonna have to say Fantasy Star Online, the original OG, because once that game came out, it was the end on there. So
Mm.
PlayStation 2 Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. So me and my friend Terry, as long time listeners of the show, would attest to. Me and Terry would go at it for hours playing Virtua Fighter 4 Evo, and I would wind up wasting down some trash cans and getting angry and so on and so forth. And I mean, that's probably the biggest memories for me on the PS2. There's a ton of other games too for PS2 I could probably kind of sing the praises of, God forbid God Hand or anything like that too. So
Yeah, those were
uh,
fantastic as well.
Original Xbox Mercenaries. So this is a LucasArts
Really?
game. Yeah. I had to really think about
Mercenaries.
and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Mercenaries. Yeah. So this is made by Pandemic Software,
Oh, yeah.
published by
I remember.
LucasArts, and you had to go in. It was like an open world shooter based in Korea, and you had to go like basically collect all the cards. You had like a two spades, three diamonds, and take down all of these different basically bosses out on the map. I just had a ton of fun with Mercenaries. So GameCube, I'm gonna kind of go pick a curveball on here. I'm gonna say Skies of Arcadia Legends on there. So Skies of Arcadia was a game that was on Dreamcast as RPG, but it was better on the GameCube, and pretty much is probably the top choice because the Dreamcast Skies of Arcadia had too high of an encounter rate, where Legends just basically tweaked some things, added some content, and really a great game. And probably Resident Evil 4 is on that list too as well because once that game came out, it was just kind of revolutionary at the time. So Xbox 360, I'm gonna actually say Blue Dragon. So that's the game
Blue
from
Dragon. Oh,
RPG, a very Dragon Quest inspired RPG from Mistwalker on there, and I literally like played that thing from beginning to end, and I loved it the entirety of the time. So for the original Wii, I'm gonna have to say Monster Hunter Try. So Monster Hunter is, you're going to see in the next couple of logins here as far as games that I really enjoyed. Monster Hunter Try was definitely the reason why I picked up a Wii. Not the only reason, but it's like my favorite game on the system. Same thing with Wii U, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. So basically, that's like the end all be all Big Daddy Wii U game for me on there because played a ton of that on both the Wii U and the 3DS, so on the Frankenstick and all sorts of other things. So PlayStation Portable also as well, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. So me, Des, my ex-wife, other friends, we would get together and just do multiplayer parties on this thing, and
it
that's
was a lot
where
of
kind
fun.
of yeah, Congalangas and Kezus and you name it. It was just like kind of nuts. It's just that game was so good multiplayer. You could attest to it. So for the PlayStation Vita, I'm gonna say Hotline Miami on there. I
Oh, wow.
really love that indie. It's overhead like shmup, but it's not like a shooter. Like it was like definitely a very graphic, very bloody overhead like Twitch based shooter where you're going in and kind of inspired a little bit, a little Miami Vice in there, a little bit of just craziness if you played that game. So for the Nintendo DS and the 3DS, I'm gonna pick Dragon Quest 9 and Dragon Quest 8 on there. So Dragon Quest 9 was really kind of a tentpole game for the DS. I probably picked it over any of the Pokemon games. Remember, me and my ex-wife would just go nuts as far as trying to grab some dungeons on the Street Pass. We
Yes.
drove me, her, and Dez. We drove to some mall out in the middle of like in the Bay Area. I think it was in like Milpitas or San Jose or something like that. I don't know if you remember this, Dez, but
Yeah.
we went out to a Nintendo event and we wound
Oh,
up
yeah. Had
playing
pizza.
playing some people out there playing some multiplayer Dragon Quest 9, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, you know. All that Street Pass stuff is long since out the way of the dodo, but there is guides online to be able to go in and pull up all the maps and stuff that were available that you had to trade way back when. So
That was a
PlayStation
fun game
4,
too.
I'm going to narrow it down to the original Destiny because I mean that game was just it was a lot. It was a
Chef's
lot
kiss.
for all of us. Yeah, 1,500 hours did not prove us wrong on there. So Xbox One. You gonna take a guess which game is on my Xbox One? Top game there, sir? Any of you two?
No, I have no idea.
Mm, oh yeah,
Crackdown
I know.
3.
Crackdown. Yeah, I was
Crackdown
about to
3.
say.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Crackdown.
Crackdown. I laid the crackdown. So Or I should put
Lay
the
something
Crackdown.
down, sir.
For the Nintendo Switch, I'm gonna say Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Both were good games on there. I need to play my Switch more. Just like, and I tend to want to play it more, but I don't play it as much. So hopefully with Switch
Crackdown.
2. Are you still like mystified by my Crackdown 3 choice?
No, I'm not, because I know how you are. It was just I was just surprised by it. Just like damn, Crackdown. Okay, so
And PS5, I'm gonna just go outright and say Monster Hunter World for right now. But we're still like kind of in. Actually, no, Monster Hunter World's a PS4 game. What the hell
That's
am I
it. Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah.
So let's leave PlayStation 5 open then. So and I also put down. Oh, I made some last asides. The Atari Jaguar Tempest 3000.
wow. I wasn't even thinking about if you were gonna say the Jaguar,
Well,
but
I
yeah,
owned a Jaguar. It's one of the like.
no, I
I
know,
hate to
but I
say it.
was
It's like I was sniffing that game fan smoke, and I was super excited about that 64-bit Atari Jaguar, and wound up going to BRE and trading in a bunch of NES or Super NES box cartridges, including like Chrono Trigger and other games I had, Final Fantasy 3, to obtain the $700 to buy the Atari Jaguar. So,
Mm.
you were a fan. You're a fan. That's what fans do. So
oh,
just
and 3DO Road Rash. Not even on my written list over here, but that game was the bomb. So,
the bomb
um,
diggity.
yeah, Xbox Series, I can't make any sort of guess on that because everything I looked at is all multi-platform stuff and stuff that came out for the Xbox One. Is there any distinct Xbox Series games at all? I mean,
I
I don't
don't
think
Gears
know.
those
5?
exist.
I don't know. Might be a
What was that?
few.
What was that, Kev?
I don't think they exist.
He might be right. Just sorry, no more.
I think on the Xbox Series, the game I played the most was Grim Dawn, and that's an Xbox One game. So it's like, okay,
Mm.
that's it for me. So
Well, quicker than I expected. So, Kev, what about you, buddy?
So my console started with the Intellivision. Hands down, my favorite game was Discs of Tron, or they call
Oh,
it Tron Deadly Discs. It was one of those games where after I was done with a play session, my thumbs had blisters the size of 50-cent pieces, but
oh wow.
because the Intellivision controller was invented by people who obviously hated children. But Discs of Tron, the whole Tron series of games on Intellivision were top notch. And it sounds just like what the title indicates. You are Tron and you are in the arena and you are throwing discs at the soldiers that the MCP is throwing at you. They would break up the rounds by sending out a recognizer that would reset your access doors because you could throw your disc into the doors that would pop open to release the enemy soldiers. If you threw your disc into the door, it would turn, I think it would be yellow. I think it's been so long because the TV that I used to play it on, the color was starting to get out of balance. So when I would throw the disc in, they would turn yellow. I don't think that was the original color. But anyway, you throw the disc in, and it would allow you to appear on the direct opposite side of the screen. So there were these really dope kills that you could perform. Like I know one time I threw the disc to my right, exited one of the doors on the left, and killed all three soldiers because I had recognized their particular patterns with one throw. I mean, I was the man in that game. That game was so awesome. So I gotta go with Tron Deadly Disc for Intellivision. That was my first console I ever had. ColecoVision, and again, all this is like all of this is like asking which kid is your favorite.
Yeah.
Asking a parent which kid is your favorite. So I get it. Um, dude, for ColecoVision, I wanted to go with Zaxxon, but because that was kind of really sort of the obvious choice. But I think instead I'm gonna go with Turbo because that
Hmm.
was the ColecoVision was the first console that I ever received a module, an accessory for. Because back in the day, we didn't have wireless controllers, we had wired controllers. And the ColecoVision was the first console that I ever owned that would offer these accessories that would expand your enjoyment of whatever game that those accessories were created for. And my wonderful parents were kind enough to provide me with the turbo wheel. And that turbo wheel was some of the most fun I had on that console. I used to play turbo for hours and just try to and just kind of I think the ColecoVision version of Turbo was very good. It wasn't arcade. It was not arcade perfect, but it was good enough to make you think you were playing the arcade. If you squinted really hard,
I concur. Yeah, I concur.
if you squinted really hard, it's like, oh man, I'm at Roller Town now in the sit down
Wow.
cab playing Turbo.
Yeah.
Dude, that game was. I used to spend hours playing that game. So moving on from ColecoVision, the next console that I had access to would have been the NES. And for that, my favorite game is probably gonna be Battletoads and Double Dragon. Um, it was kind of like a combination of two of my favorite beat 'em up series at the time. Battletoads because I actually did finish Battletoads. There's no way for me to prove that, but I actually did. And Double Dragon, even on the NES, I love that game. I still have my copy because complete with instruction manuals and all that good
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
Um, and Double Dragon, I mean Battletoads Double Dragon was kind of like I think they did one for the SNES, which I always wanted to get but never got around to getting. But it's just what it is. It's like a mix of the enemies from Battletoads and Double Dragons all in one game, and you can pick Billy or Jimmy Lee or one of the three Battletoads. And uh, I don't know how well it reviewed at the time, but I found myself just playing the hell out of that game. So moving on to the SNES, that is probably going to be Super Double Dragon, and
Hmm.
it's funny because there is a Super Double Dragon. Um, what would you call that? Free game, for lack of a better term. There's a specific term for it that I can't remember, but the guy that created Super Double Dragon created this free to play game that you can download for Windows. And it incorporates a lot of the different themes and functions that he wanted to put in Super Double Dragon, but was unable to because the publisher at the time was trying to meet a certain financial date for their reporting. So they told him that he had to whatever you got, we put it out. And he himself was never satisfied with the way Super Double Dragon turned out because I didn't know any of that. And, how could we? Because we didn't have social media. It was such a much better time.
Hmm.
Um, I just knew that it was the most fun Double Dragon that I had ever played, including the arcade versions. I I regret to this day ever trading that. I bought and traded that game something like 3 or 4 times, and I regret doing that it's one of the best beat 'em ups overall that I've ever played, and one of the best examples of when Double Dragon is done right, Double Dragon Neo, um, of just how dope that series can be. And also, if you have access, if you have a Windows, if you have Windows, I would highly suggest you download what is it called? It's Super Double Dragon XT or X. It's X something or other, and it's got multiple different characters. It has one of the most in depth combat systems you will ever find in a 2D side scrolling beat 'em up. It has finishers. You can do Jago's Jago's ultimate from Killer Instinct, and the Killer Instinct announcer will start Ultra Combo. It is so out there and crazy and fun, and it's absolutely free. So if you have a Windows PC, I would highly suggest you check that out. It's free to download. So that was SNES. So my next system after SNES was probably the original PlayStation. I'm going to say for that, I'll because I can't really I had an idea in my head, but I completely forgot it. So I will just say Bloody Roar.
No,
Uh,
wow.
just because that was a fighting game that I played an awful lot of. It's probably not I don't think it would be the game that I would choose, but instead of just wasting time trying to come up with with the game that I actually had in my head, I'll say Bloody Roar because it was a game that I spent a lot of time playing. My favorite character was the dude that was the mole. I liked him. He was kind of like a 3D Blanca in a lot of ways. And I think when me and the homie Damon used to play, his guy was the dude that transformed into the tiger. So we would play that game a lot. Moving
Bunny
on to
Rabbit all the way.
moving to PlayStation 2, hands down, it's got to be God Hand. Um, that is still to this day one of my favorite games, only recently supplanted by Final Fantasy 16. But it's one of those games that is so batshit crazy that it just makes it fun. I doubt that game. Well, I keep saying that, but they did do Lollipop Chainsaw, and they didn't change anything from the original. So maybe it could be remade in this day of sensitive folks, but it was just so batshit crazy. Nobody liked it from the reviewers. They hated the combat system. They didn't like the janky controls. The controls, I wouldn't call the controls janky. I thought it controlled well. There was definitely a learning curve to it, and I just think a lot of the people that reviewed the game just did not have the patience to give the combat system time to really sink and gel with them and get the muscle memory down. But just God Hand is just so that game is still one of my favorite games ever.
Great.
So
So good.
from PS2, we're going to. I'm gonna go to Saturn because I was super late in the gen getting a hold of a Saturn. I picked one up for dollars and donuts at BRE Software Summer Sale. And I'm going to say for the Saturn, it was Guardian Heroes.
Oh,
And
good game.
yeah, Guardian Heroes was one of those beat 'em ups that it was a scrolling side to side beat 'em up. It also had a lane system, so you could jump into the foreground and jump into the background, and you were like different people could control this undead warrior that would just do these just brutal, health draining moves on the enemy. And this game was just like it was a combo builder's dream. And I think my favorite character was the cleric or the wizard. I can't remember if he was a cleric or a wizard. He was a dude with the staff, and I really enjoyed playing as him. So, and that game was, I want to say it was 4-player tap compatible. So if you had 3 other buddies, you could send, and someone had a Saturn multi tap, y'all could plug uh, the controllers in and just play that game. And I think we played that. We played multiplayer on that once. I think it was. Or it might have been 3 because I remember it was me, Joe, and Fred playing it. I want to say we were able to get the fourth person in at some point, but I don't remember who that fourth was. But just an awesome beat 'em up, super dope game for the Dreamcast. Just keeping it in the same lineup. I'm going to go with Sword of Berserk. And it was a toss up between Sword of Berserk or Mark of the Wolves. But I think in this instance, I'll go with Sword of Berserk this time because Sword of Berserk was like one of the first beat 'em ups that was like gruesome. It's like if you ended an enemy on a with a vertical slice, they would slice in half. And if you entered them on a horizontal slice, they would slice in half horizontally, and it really did it was really basic and kind of corny the way they did it, but I loved it just the same. And of course, that game is about guts from the sort of Berserk manga, and they turned it into a game. And I thought it played pretty good on the Dreamcast, and I finished that game a lot. I think multiple times over because I really enjoyed it. So moving to uh, did I mention play? Did I mention PlayStation?
I
The
think you
original
did.
PlayStation. Yeah, okay, that was Bloody Roar. Original Xbox, without a doubt, hands down, my favorite game on that console was The Punisher. And that's another game that I could kick myself in the nuts for trading back and never picking it up again. I actually do have a copy of The Punisher that I picked up from I it it wasn't Blue Shell, it was some other mon pop place that had that sold old school games that's no longer in business. I can't remember the name of it, but The Punisher was that game captured who Frank Castle is from the comics like no other game that I can recall it ever. I know there was a Punisher game for the NES, and I did play that. But in this game for the original Xbox, and I want to say it came out for the PlayStation as well. It was a multi-plat if I'm not mistaken. What set this one apart was that you could torture the people you beat up.
Wow.
Like if you were in fighting in I know there was one level where you're in like a where there's saws and like some type of industrial complex or something. And you're fighting a bad dude, you can get them into a position because it was like 2 parts beat 'em up, 1 part third person shooter, and you could get them and like threaten to put them in a vat of boiling oil or depending on where you're fighting. And then there was one area where there was like these industrial saws all around, and you could threaten. It's like if you don't tell me what I need to know, your head's going through this buzz saw. And even after they tell you what you want to hear, you can still put them through the buzz
Yikes.
saw. And dude, that game was so much fun. It was it because it's like I probably had a lot of repressed rage and anger, and that's probably why I can relate so well with Frank Castle. Because it's like, dude, we kind of need somebody like that to just clean shit up.
Mm.
And that game really captured the character like not in, like no other game, and I'm including the Capcom uh
Beat
Punisher
'em
beat
up.
'em up as well.
Yeah.
I think it did an even better job than that game did. Let's see, moving from original Xbox into I'm going to say PS3. Uh, hmm. I'm going to say I'm going to say Heavenly Sword.
Okay.
And I think the reason I'm going to say Heavenly Sword was because even though the ending was terrible, like the last boss fight was just needlessly problematic. I thought the journey to the end was some of the best storytelling that I had experienced in a third person action game. Because this dropped before there was Nathan Drake showed up, so this was kind of like peak storytelling in a genre that I thoroughly enjoyed. Um, and I know that there was God of War on the PS2, but I think the character in what was the name of that game? My brain is not working tonight.
Uncharted.
No, in the sword game that I just mentioned,
Oh, Heavenly Sword.
Heavenly Sword. In Heavenly Sword does not get enough credit. It was peak storytelling, a very good combat system, and they even utilized that six axis broken function on the PS3 controller. There was a point where you could take oh god, whatever, I can't remember the main character's name. You could play as her sister, and you could do there was like these sniping levels that you could do because she had a either a crossbow or a bow that she could just like pop fools off at long distances, and you use the six axis function on the controller to control the arrow and guide it to the target. um that game was doing stuff like that, utilizing a function that nobody liked, and for the most part was kind of broken. But in Heavenly Sword, it was utilized to a certain degree. It was still not always, the arrow still wouldn't always go where you wanted it to go necessarily, but it was fun enough and not frustrating enough just to keep you going. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. Um, so that's PS3. PS4. I'm going to say I'm going to say it's Horizon Zero Dawn for me on PS4. It was either going to be that or it was going to be Super Stardust HD, one or the other, because I spent tons and tons of time in both those
Hmm.
games. Super Stardust, but I'm gonna have to tip my hat to Aloy and her adventures because gosh, Horizon Zero Dawn was just a peak adventure game in my opinion. I think it's the best adventure series that PlayStation has going on right now. I know a lot of people suffer from Horizon fatigue, but I say, give me more Aloy, give me more arrows, give me more mechanical dinosaurs to dismantle and take apart and blow up. Um, I think it's just an all around fantastic adventure game. PS5, I'm not really in. I really don't want to say I don't think I can say because there are some games that have dropped, and there are games that will be dropping that really look like they're going to take a whole lot of my time, what little game time that I have. So I'm going to leave the PS5 unanswered at this point. But those are my top games for all the systems that I've owned, I think.
Cool.
Um,
Well, thank you so
oh,
much,
oh, oh,
guys.
for
Oh,
like, I'm sorry, for Vita, I forgot. Vita, hands down, Persona 4 Golden, because that game is a game that I finished almost entirely at work. It was my go-to because I we used to have we actually used to have three 15-minute breaks during the day, as well as an hour, or if you were in courtroom, an hour and a half lunch. So I was able to start, play, and finish that game entirely at my job. So it took
fantastic.
me a whole lot of time to do it, but that was the game that really got me into the Persona series of games. So that will complete it.
Cool. Well, all right then. Thank you so much, John, BT, for that beautiful question. Um, if you have any questions for us, please let us know. We definitely want to answer your questions. This main event is for our community feedback. That way, our community can talk to each other, can talk to us, and we can let you all know what your hosts are up to, and what some of our stuff, our likes are, and what are and our history and whatnot. So. We always love folks to comment. So if you have a question, please let us know, send it to us, and we will pose it to our community, and we can all have a conversation about it. Ways you can do that, stay till the end, and Kev will let you know how to do that if you haven't been listening already. I kind of said it, but for our next question, the question is, I want to keep this in a little bit of a walk of a back in time kind of situation. We have done this before. I think we might have asked this question a couple years ago, but we might have new listeners. But I'm going to ask the question, and the question is, and I'm going to piggyback off of what John BT said. Think of a an arcade game that was your favorite arcade game that you have played in the arcade. I know that arcades are kind of a dead thing now, unfortunately, unless you live in some small town and you have a Pizza Hut or something. So um, they're not around that much. But think about that. Think about it. Let us know, what was your favorite arcade game back when you were going to arcades and spending all your quarters and your allowance, and we'll have a conversation about that, and that'll be our next one.
We're
But
allowed more than one.
you can have more. Yes, Joe, you can have more than one. We'll say
Thank
top
you.
three. I know it's going to kill you to try to break that. Try to pare it down to just one. So I'll say your top three. Okay,
Top 30. All right. Let's
top
go.
three. No, that is a
30.
three without a zero after it. No,
Top
three.
300. All right. Let's
No,
go. Let's
no.
go.
California Extreme's coming up too. No, Joe, just one. So but that's it for me. But you know what follows me? It's the Jabroni Gaming News.
All right. Thank you for that, Des.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. So, first story I want to talk about on this episode has to do with Bungie. So, Bungie got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Some artist on Blue Sky basically posted that all of the art in the upcoming marathon basically use her previous works on here. It's a design that she made back in 2017. And basically all the assets in the game on like the guns and even the um, levels were all used from poster designs that she made back in 2017. And so on her post, she pretty much kind of posted the receipts of everything. So
It's
and kind of
terrible.
showed her work. In fact, they even like had something to where she put her own like information in a design as a trademark, and that wound up on one of the guns in the game. So,
What?
yep,
That's
and it was
horrible.
yeah, and some of the even the graphics from her posters were featured in some of the levels. So actually, what Bungie did is that they basically took like basic geometry and put her poster designs over it. So it's like,
Like, are you serious?
yeah. So what happened is that Bungie decided to say that they, on their live stream this past Friday,
My bad.
they pulled all marathon gameplay on there, and they're going to review every piece of work in the game, every piece of art in the game, and make sure that they source it properly. According to Bungie, they did say that a former staff member was responsible for taking her art. So there was a former staff member that was
Sure,
supposed to do
My
this. And
bad.
sure.
of course, Joseph Cross, Marathon's art director, was one of the people that were following this particular artist on Blue Sky and had been following her for years, actually. So people were kind of stating so. But Joseph Cross came back to say that they were conducting a thorough review to remove any art from the game that was inappropriately sourced and ensure that the situation doesn't happen again in the future. So they
My
reached out
bad.
to
Sorry.
the artist to apologize and made sure that they did right by her, but they didn't provide any specific details. So on there,
Damn.
according to their statements, and basically the graphic designer without permission or acknowledgement used graphic elements from her work and placed them on a decal sheet that was checked in back in 2020 when they were working on the game. So,
Mm, mm,
Mm,
mm.
mm.
and
Yeah. You hate to see it. Like,
yeah,
really?
according to Joseph Cross, it says hundreds of artists have worked on this project for years internally and externally, and we share many influences, including modernism, 80s, uh, 80s, not 80s, 2000 style vector art, cyberpunk, and the original Marathon trilogy. So
Mm.
they're apologizing. They sent a personal apology to the artist and stated that her work is fantastic and we clearly share a mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design. And
Hopefully
I'm
that
excited to
apology
have,
came with a nice check.
who
Yep.
knows? We'll see. So we'll have to see what Marathon. Marathon is scheduled for release on September 23rd on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. So the game is a quote unquote premium product. So it's going to be something that is not free to play. So we'll have to see how well it does. So, looking at the story too, I saw that this is not the first time Bungie has been accused of stealing art. They've stolen like fan art for Destiny and actually put it into the actual game without giving the artist any acknowledgement as well. So it's like
Okay.
kind of
I mean, I'm not
crazy.
surprised, but it's
Yeah.
sad to see.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Bungie, they did announce the latest expansions for Destiny 2. So Destiny 2 Prophecy and Fate comes out on July 15th. On here. It's their latest expansion on there. This is like kind of those shorter expansions than what they've done in the past on here. It kicks off the story of the new Fate saga on there. It has some changes to the core systems and gameplay mechanics. So they're always tweaking it. Now, never want to count the three. They're always tweaking it. So, but basically on this, it's gonna, obviously the current DLC, the final shape, is going to end the Traveler saga, and this is going to start a new saga on there. So, and they quote unquote said it's an ideal entry point for new players. So imagine you as a new player jumping into like a game that's like almost or close to 10 years old, trying to hop in and try to figure all that business out. So I know I've asked you, both of you two, about this, but you're not getting back into Destiny before it counts to three, right?
No. No.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
not.
see myself
I'm
doing it.
not. No. I mean, I think about it every time you kind of like start talking about it. I think, maybe I'll, hang on and go in because Joe's coming in and he's super excited about doing it. So maybe I'll hang out with him and do it. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, the Edge of Fate though does it's kind of taking a riff off of they get a invitation from the member of the Nine on here, and it's going to a new planet called Kepler on there. So, and they took inspiration from the Dreaming City and that particular planet when creating the Edge of Fate DLC, according to that. So.
Hmm.
And according to narrative director Alison Luhr, she said that at the heart of the Edge of Fate is player-driven discovery and exploration on
Ooh,
there. So, ooh. But also too, they unveiled or announced that there's a teaser trailer for Destiny 2 Renegades. So Renegades is coming out in December. And if you saw the little trailer for it, there's a LucasArts logo. And so basically, this is Destiny 2 taking on some inspiration from Star Wars. So you see like a hunter basically with a lightsaber.
so is
So
this? Or did they steal that too, or
no, they actually
You know they
officially
ain't gonna steal
licensed
none of
this.
that.
Nope.
nah? Lucas is
They
gonna
ain't
be like,
stealing
you
that.
doing? Lucas is like, you doing what now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we'll have to wait to see when Destiny 2 Renegades does come out, but they are working with LucasArts and they are going to take direct inspiration from Star Wars and add it into the Destiny fold on there. So I don't know about all that, but it's coming out on December 2nd, 2025. It's inspired by the legendary Star Wars universe. It merges Destiny's distinctive storytelling and gameplay with themes and elements drawn from Star Wars on here. So basically, it's a Destiny story at heart, but with a Star Wars inspired take that it's been a dream for us to explore, according to the developer. This is from Justin
Ah,
Truman, Destiny Vice President. So,
good for
uh,
them.
Destiny Vice President. Imagine being the Vice President of Destiny. Oh boy.
Eh?
I'm sure it
Yeah.
still brings in some money,
Oh,
but
it does. It
Yeah.
does.
And we'll see. We'll see if I'm gonna taste and give you know, Destiny 2 a little bit more play and see from there. So who knows? Maybe we'll talk about in the future on the show. So all
Cool.
right, next, who knows? Next thing I want to talk about is Red Dead Redemption 2. So Take Two has decided, based on the fact that hey, they like money, they are going to bring out Red Dead Redemption 2 for the Switch on there. It's coming out for the Switch 2 on here, along with a PS5 and Xbox Series update on here. So, and this is a rumor right now, according to story on here. So that because people have been begging for our Red Dead Redemption 2 to actually get a current gen patch, and it's been years that people have been clamoring for this. So, I mean, to me, it would make monetary sense for them to release
Yeah.
it on the Switch 2. So we'll have to see if it comes to fruition. But according to the rumor, it is making the jump on there. So what do you guys' opinion? Would you check out Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch, or maybe check out the game again once it re-releases for PS5?
I really played it. To tell you the guy's honest truth.
Yeah, I haven't really played it that much myself.
So I
yeah,
mean,
I didn't play it at all because I found out what happened toward the end of the game, and I just thought it was the dumbest thing ever. Um, yeah, so I
not a fan, huh?
once that was revealed, I said, well, then there's no sense of playing as this dude because his they just basically made his whole this character that they're focusing on. They just made his whole storyline irrelevant with the choice that they made in the main story. So I was like, nah, I'm good.
Well, let's see if it comes out. I mean, it might be something I will fire up. I need to play. Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 are on my backlog, so it's like you know, between that and playing like GTA 5, I maybe have to see what's up with Rockstar again. Because believe you me, I enjoyed the hell out of all the Grand Theft Auto 3 games. Between that, Vice City, and I played a little bit of San Andreas, but it seems like it's something I could probably get back into. I remember Des watching me play GTA 3 and especially GTA 2 back in the day. So, all right, next story I want to talk about is SNK. So, the CEO of SNK, Kenji Matsubara, has basically announced that he is going to be transitioning to an advisory role where he will continue to lend his quote unquote expertise and vision. It's kind of been speculating the reason why he stepped down is that with the release of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, that sales have been kind of muted with the game at best. So the game, if you well know, had probably the biggest marketing campaign, costly marketing campaigns in recent memory. I mean, I think they sponsored WrestleMania this year. They were all over the place as far as sponsoring all sorts of events, and like they had their own like MMA event that was sponsored by Fatal Fury, and so they spent a ton of money trying to promote this game. But as it stands right now, it's not doing all that well sales wise. So in Japan, it only sold 6,300 copies in its first 11 days, according to Famitsu. On Steam, the game has an all-time peak concurrent player number of 4,674,
Just
which is
did
lower
do
than
well.
even the beta. Yeah, in the last 24 hours on Steam, according to this past week, had a player peak of 1,157 players. So, in comparison, Street Fighter 6 hit a peak concurrent of more than 32,000 players in its last 24 hours. Besides the fact that it's like 2 years old now. And we'll have to see if Fatal Fury is gonna do anything of note. Yeah, I wish the game would get some momentum. I mean, I bought the game. I know, Kev, you bought the game too, but I haven't really taken the time to even break it out and check it out a little bit more. But I was hoping it would do better. I mean, it was all over the place,
Yeah, the
marketing
game is
wise.
good.
So
The game is good. I think it's a solid game. I'm I'm on record as being more of a Fatal Fury guy than a Street Fighter guy. I'm a stand on that still, but these numbers are not good. I can't cap on that, and I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why this game seemingly has not resonated with the FGC, but it's unfortunate because if these numbers don't make a substantial change in the uptake, this probably means this is the last Fatal Fury game we're going to see, and they're probably going to go back to King of Fighters, which King of Fighters for me is okay, but when I think SNK fighting games, I'm thinking Samurai Showdown and I'm thinking
Yeah,
Fatal Fury.
yeah.
Was always just okay to me, and I really wasn't into King of Fighters. What is it? What are we? Are we on like the 15th game?
yeah, 15, yeah.
15. I was not a fan of 14 at all. I thought the graphics were butt ugly on that. 15 looks better, but I'm just fighting as a dude who uses a pillow as a weapon. Nah, I'm cool on that. The characters seem more fitted for a what's that other SNK fighter that they had with the two ninjas and
Oh,
Yeah, about
World
World
Heroes.
Heroes.
World Heroes. They should be in World Heroes. They shouldn't be in KOF. They're just too wonky and crazy. They need to be in World Heroes for that. I just could not get into the whole vibe of King of Fighters 14 and 15.
I want
And
World Heroes to come back. I want
Yeah,
Rasputin kissing me, taking me in the
that'd be fun.
You know,
fucking
Captain Kid
kid.
Warriors.
I think that would be awesome because that's where all those weirdo characters from 14 and KOF 14 and 15 can be put into where it makes sense. But the sad thing is that, man, I'm really this kind of hurts because City of the Wolves is a dope ass game, and for whatever reason, and I can't think of a reason why, it's just not vibing with the community. So I don't know. I'd like to see those numbers improve.
I blame
Also
Joe.
on the fighting game tip, Harada, the producer of Tekken 8, gave the fighting game community an update regarding its addition of a Waffle House stage to Tekken 8.
Oh, that
According
Waffle
to
House stuff is so silly.
according to the Harada, he was basically asked about the status of it, and he says that he's called and left messages with Waffle House, and they have not returned his calls for a potential collaboration. So they were considering possibly using and creating a Hustle House stage in like inspiration on there. So he's asking on X saying, if I can't get the Waffle House name license, how about we call it Hustle House? Does that make sense to you?
The fact that he is taking this seriously just makes him an amazing guy. Like
Hmm.
seriously, that is just really we're really talking about having a dang Waffle House. Like seriously, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Waffle
this is
House in Tekken. Okay, let's do
yeah.
it. Let's go.
This is Harada, basically. In fact, I've already been thinking about
Oh
it
my
quite a while
lord.
ago. Over the past year or more, I've actually tried to make contact through several different channels. However, and this is purely my own speculation, I suspect that the lack of response may be due to the fact that the project I'm known for revolves around fighting themed video games. So he says that, by the way, no response equals very rare case, that usually money talks and bullshit walks, basically. So.
Hmm.
Damn,
So yeah,
that
you
sucks.
know, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe we'll see a Hustle House at Evo 2025
That
being unveiled. So we'll have to
would be
see.
awesome.
But all right, and then our release dates and announcement portion of the Jabroni Gaming News: Virtua Fighter 5 Revolution Revo was announced for consoles now. So originally it was just released on Steam. It's coming out for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 2, and Steam on here. And it's going to support crossplay support, rollback netcode, and new content in the game as well. So one Virtua Fighter fan on this podcast is quite happy to hear this news. So also too, they unveiled like the character reveal for the next Virtua Fighter, the new project that they're working on.
Mhm.
And they unveiled the character for Wolk Hockfield on here. And if you haven't seen the trailer yet for Wolk Hockfield, basically, he looks like Ganondorf in fighting game form. So they made Wolf
Oh,
into Ganondorf for whatever reason. He has this big schnoz and looks like the second coming of Ganondorf. Like imagine Ganondorf in wrestling tights, and then that is Wolf in the next Virtua Fighter game, unfortunately. So hopefully they will pare down the nose a little bit with the good old Wolf on there. So
so they really wanted Ganondorf in, huh?
yeah, if you look at him, it's like straight up, he looks like Ganondorf, man. I swear to God, it's like ridiculous. I'm sad. I'm hopefully like Jeffrey doesn't come out and has like all sorts of craziness to him or anything like that.
Maybe
So
he'll be like super like maybe he'll be like a really cool character though.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'll have to see what
Yeah.
characters they're going to bring over in the next project on there. So, and I'm hoping they actually just unveil the game and like instead of saying new Virtua Fighter project, they actually just say it's Virtua Fighter 6 or whatever they want to call it. So we'll have to see. But
Virtual
also
Fighter
other
Joe.
Virtua Fighter Joe, yep. And if you paid attention to like Jabroni Gaming News in years past, I was excited for this game called Blue Protocol from Namco Bandai Namco. on here. And it was like MMORPG, but it ultimately got canceled on
Yep.
here. They actually sold the license and the actual assets for the game to a Chinese developer. And so developer Bakuro has announced a free-to-play Blue Protocol Star Resonance for PC via Steam and Epic Game Store, iOS and Android. It's coming out in 2025. So this game is actually going to come out worldwide for people to be able to play. Originally, Bandai Namco brought it out in for PC in 2023, I think, and it was actually something to where they shuttered the game. They actually closed down the game, and
Yeah,
so I
I
was
remember that.
been wanting to play this, and so we'll have to see if this game's going to be full of nothing but gotcha garbage, or whether it's something that actually will kind of resonate with the original design docs for the game on there. So we'll have to see.
One can only hope.
One could only hope. And then last but not least, not Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time, has announced that Level 5 has announced that they're going to release the game for the Switch 2 as well on there. So if you happen to pick up a Switch 1 version of the game, it will cost a whole honkin' 300 yen to upgrade to the Switch 2 version on
Jeez.
there. So the game comes out May 21st worldwide, so it's coming out this week. On here, there are no physical versions of this game coming out. Initially, this game was supposed to be published on the Switch and brought out by Nintendo physically on the Switch, but once Level 5 decided to release the game on multi-platform, including Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, Nintendo said, nope, we're not publishing this no more. So they bounced out.
Hmm.
But there is a physical if you want to get the physical for this game. I know, Des, you were kind of interested in this game, I
Yes.
believe, right?
I played the first one for quite a bit, and I really enjoyed it. So,
Yeah, on the DS, right? Or was that
yeah,
3DS? It was 3DS, yeah.
3DS. So I will
So
probably end up picking it up. Yeah.
it's coming out physically on PlayStation 4 and on Switch. So in Japan, and it does have English
Mm-hmm.
as part of the languages on there. So, but that is Jabroni Gaming News for this episode, sirs.
Well, all right. Game night takes place every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That is the day and time that we set aside to play with our growing Discord community. So if there is a game that you're interested in playing either with us or members of our Discord, please feel free to post that game in our game night section. So you might be asking, well, that's all great and all, but how do I join your Discord? That's easy. You just head on over to Blue Sky and look for @GamingVessels, GamingVessels. You click the link in the bio and you're in. We don't have any merch to hawk to you, and we don't have a Patreon tier list that you need to pay for. We just ask that you be a decent human being that likes talking, debating, and playing video games. And I think if you meet that criteria, you'll find yourself a happy home aboard the good ship Gaming Vessel. So with that, that's going to bring episode 281 to a close. I want to thank y'all for hanging out, cooling out, chilling out without a doubt. So for Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover,
It's me.
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy, and for Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh Lord.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. I am Show Enough 71, aka Digadulamite.
That bling bling of the purple, y'all.
And we'll be back next time, episode 282, for your ear holes. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the end. Thank you. Goodbye.